True, so help you God?
Sí, juro.
I do swear.
All right, you can lower your hand. All right, defense.
Thank you, Judge. Oh, sorry, when you speak in Spanish, just kind of, I forget it. Mr. Parada, where do you reside?
Señor Parada, ¿dónde vive usted?
En este momento, en la 342 Ocele Avenue.
At this time, at 342 Ocelia Avenue.
Is that here in San Antonio, sir?
¿Es aquí en San Antonio?
Sí,
Yes.
And how long have you lived at that address?
Tiempo lleva usted viviendo en esa dirección?
2 años.
2 years.
And prior to living at that address, did you live at a different location?
Sí.
Yes.
Do you recall the address for that location?
¿Cuál era la dirección de ese lugar?
7714, creo, Timber Ridge.
7714, I think Timber Ridge.
And Mr. Parada, what do you do for a living?
Señor Parada, ¿cómo se gana usted la vida?
Trabajando en la construcción.
Working in construction.
And how long have you worked construction?
¿Cuánto tiempo lleva usted trabajando en construcción?
Como 25 años.
About 25 years.
Do you work for a company or who do you work for?
¿Usted trabaja por una empresa o para quién trabaja?
Trabajaba para mi hermano, la compañía de él.
I was working for my brother, for his company.
When you say your brother, which brother?
Cuando usted dice su hermano, ¿cuál hermano?
Para JDP, José Parada.
For JDP, Jose Parada.
And when you say construction, what specific type of work do you mean? Is it when you're talking about construction?
Y cuando usted dice construcción, ¿qué tipo de trabajo específico quiere decir con construcción?
Más que todo, ladrillo, piedra y concreto. Y
More than anything, bricks, stone, and concrete,
muchas cosas más.
and
¿Qué
many
puedo-
other things we do.
Okay, is it a job that you have inside, indoors, outdoors?
¿Es un trabajo que usted hace en el interior o al aire libre?
Puedo hacerlo igual, del aire libre y afuera.
I could
Adentro.
do either, indoor, outdoor.
Is it hard work?
Sí, es.
Yes, it is.
And what kind of equipment and what kind of tools do you use for that work that you do? sir?
¿Y qué tipo de equipo, qué tipo de herramientas utiliza usted para ese trabajo que hace?
Mucho eléctrico. La mayoría es eléctrico todo.
A lot of electrical. Most of it is electrical.
And is that equipment that you use, the electric equipment that you use, is that expensive? Is it cheap?
¿Y el equipo eléctrico que usted utiliza es un equipo que es costoso, es barato?
Es costoso.
It's expensive.
And let me ask you, so your brother is Mr. Parada. Is that fair and accurate?
Déjeme preguntarle, ¿su hermano es el señor Parada?
Sí.
¿Es eso correcto? Yes.
And you know why you're here today, right?
Usted sabe por qué usted está aquí el día de hoy.
Sí.
Yes.
So I wanna ask you about a date in September the 15th of 2020. Do you recall that day?
Quiero preguntarle sobre una fecha. ¿Usted recuerda el día 15 de septiembre de 2020? ¿Lo recuerda?
Sí.
Yes.
And what events do you recall taking place on that day?
¿Qué eventos recuerda usted que ocurrieron ese día?
Fue cuando estaba en mi casa y luego la troca que me han robado llegó a la casa, los dos sujetos, los dos novios, y se estacionaron enfrente de mi casa.
It was when I was home and the truck that had been stolen, the two subjects, the couple that had stolen it, they came by the home.
Okay, well, let me back up a little bit. Do you recall, or have you ever had a vehicle of yours stolen before?
Bien, déjeme retroceder un poco. ¿Usted recuerda o alguna vez le habían robado un vehículo antes?
Sí,
Yes.
And what vehicle was it that was stolen from your home on the Timber Ridge address?
¿Qué vehículo fue el que robaron de su casa en la dirección de Timber Ridge?
es una Toyota Highlander,
A Toyota Highlander.
What color was it?
es color gris.
It was gray.
And that Toyota Highlander, who is that vehicle registered to?
¿Y a nombre de quién está registrada esa Toyota Highlander?
A nombre de José Parada y el nombre mío.
To the name of Jose Parada and mine.
Okay, and now that vehicle that was taken, that Toyota Highlander, that vehicle was taken, how many days, if you can recall, how many days before the incident that you were describing to the jury?
Y ese vehículo que fue llevado, esa Toyota Highlander, si es que usted recuerda, ¿cuántos días antes se la llevaron del día del incidente? Si es que recuerda.
Creo que 3 semanas por ahí.
I think about 3 weeks around there.
As far as your memory goes, that vehicle that was taken, did you make a police report for that stolen high-tech Toyota Highlander?
Con respecto a ese vehículo que fue, que usted recuerde, ¿usted levantó un informe de policía por esa Toyota Highlander?
Sí,
Yes.
Okay, and after making that report, did you advise, was anything else of value in that Toyota Highlander when it was taken?
Después de haber hecho ese informe, ¿había algo más de valor dentro de la Toyota Highlander cuando se la llevaron?
pues bastante valor todo lo que yo había trabajado para hacer todo el dinero y para trabajar para mi familia y para todos. Me quedé sin nada cuando se llevaron.
Well, a lot of value, everything that I had worked for, a lot of money, and everything with what I worked for my family, they took everything.
Well, let me ask you about that. What do you mean by what you worked for your family? What was inside that Toyota Highlander that you worked hard for?
Déjeme preguntarle, ¿qué quiere usted decir cuando dice que con todo lo que había trabajado para su familia? ¿Qué es lo que había dentro de la Toyota Highlander que era de tanto valor?
De valor todo eso es la herramienta que uso para trabajar, porque solo con mis manos no puedo hacerlo. Necesito la herramienta que para el trabajo.
Of value is the tools that I use for work, because just with my hands, I cannot do it. So the tools that I use for work.
So that the Toyota Highlander that was taken from you, that is where you would store all your equipment for your work?
Entonces, la Toyota Highlander de usted que se llevaron es donde usted almacena todas sus herramientas para el trabajo.
Sí,
era la única que tenía.
Yes, it was the only one I had.
And the equipment that you had in that vehicle, was it easily acquired by you?
Y el equipo que usted tenía dentro de este vehículo es que usted lo adquirió fácilmente.
No,
No.
Was the equipment that was in the Toyota Highlander, was it only your equipment for work?
El equipo que se encontraba dentro de la Toyota Highlander era únicamente el equipo de usted.
no.
No.
Who else's equipment was that?
¿De quién más era ese equipo?
Era de mi hermano.
It was my brother's.
And you testified that the equipment, the value that you had in that equipment, the reason that it's valuable to you is because that's how you provide for your family. Is that what you testified to, sir?
Y usted testificó que ese equipo, el valor que tiene ese equipo es porque así es como usted provee para su familia. ¿Eso
Sí.
es cierto? Yes.
So once the equipment's gone, are you able to work when that vehicle is taken from you?
Entonces, una vez que ese equipo se fue, usted logró trabajar cuando le quitaron ese equipo.
No necesariamente, no.
Not necessarily, no.
Okay, and on the day that the equipment is taken, the report was made. Did you call the police yourself that day?
Y el día que se llevaron ese equipo, se levantó un informe. ¿Fue usted mismo quien llamó a la policía ese día?
No,
No.
Who, if anyone, called 911 that day?
¿Quién?
Fue mi
Llamó al
hija.
911 ese día. It was my daughter.
But a report was made. Is that accurate?
Pero se levantó un informe. ¿Eso
Sí.
es correcto? Yes.
Did the police call you at any point after it was taken to tell you, hey, Mr. Parada, I'm working on finding your vehicle for you, sir?
La policía lo llamó a usted en algún momento después de que se levantó el informe para decirle, hey, señor Parada, estamos trabajando en la búsqueda de su vehículo por usted.
Sí.
Yes.
And Mr. Parada, so after that vehicle is taken from you, did you identify or did you know who had taken your vehicle?
Señor Parada, después de que se llevaron ese vehículo de usted, ¿usted conocía o podía identificar a las personas que se lo llevaron?
No.
No.
So after the vehicle is taken, now I want to fast forward to the day of the incident, which is September 21st of 2020. Do you recall that day?
Ahora, después de que se llevaron el vehículo, quiero avanzar hacia el día donde ocurrió el incidente, que fue el 21 de septiembre de 2020. ¿Usted recuerda ese día?
Sí.
Yes.
Start from the beginning if you can, Mr. Parada. On the day of September 21st, 2022, tell me where you're at that day.
Comencemos desde el principio, si puede, señor Parada. El día 21 de septiembre de 2020, ¿dónde se encontraba usted ese día?
Yo estaba en la casa.
I was home.
And that's the 7714 Timber Ridge address?
Y es en la dirección del 7714 Timber Ridge.
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, so now describe to me what happened, or approximately what time is it when you notice something out of the ordinary, sir?
Descríbame aproximadamente qué hora era cuando usted notó algo fuera de lo común.
Aproximadamente las 3, right?
Approximately 3, around there, 3.
And what is it that you observed while you're at your home, sir?
¿Qué es lo que usted observó estando en su casa, señor?
En ese momento que llegó la troca que me habían robado y se parquearon, se estacionaron frente de la casa, el buzón, y se detuvieron. Y las dos personas se me quedaron viendo y yo me acerco al carro de ellos y les digo, oh, ¿me van a dar mi troca, por favor?
At that moment, when the truck that was stolen arrived to my home, they parked in front of the mailbox at my house. And then they stopped, and there were two people that were looking at me. And then I approached them and I tell them, hey, are you going to give me my truck?
And then what happens next, Mr. Parada?
Y luego, ¿qué ocurrió después de eso, señor Parada?
Ellos se pusieron a reír.
They started to laugh.
And who was driving at the time that you noticed these two individuals in your Toyota Highlander, Mr. Parada?
¿Y quién iba manejando cuando usted observó estas dos personas en la Toyota Highlander que usted?
Era el hombre.
It was the man.
Had you ever seen that man before, sir?
¿Usted había visto a ese hombre antes alguna vez?
No, nunca.
No, never.
And who was in the passenger side, Mr. Parada?
¿Quién iba en el asiento del pasajero, señor?
Era la novia que andaba con él.
It was the girlfriend that was with him.
Had you ever met them any day before?
¿Alguna vez usted los había conocido un día antes?
Nunca.
Never.
Okay, so at that point, you see them, you're outside your house. Where are you? When you say that you speak to them, where exactly are you in relation to the street?
En ese momento usted lo ve, ellos están fuera de su casa. ¿Y dónde está usted parado exactamente con respecto a la calle?
Yo estaba en la puerta cuando ellos llegaron a la casa.
I was
Sí.
by the door when they arrived to the house.
And when you testify, you said that you asked them, hey, give me back my truck. Is that, where were you when you said that statement?
Y usted testificó que usted, cuando ellos llegaron, usted les dijo, hey, devuélvanme mi camioneta. ¿Dónde estaba usted cuando eso ocurrió?
Yo caminé a frente de ellos como 4 pies.
I walked towards, in front of them, like 4 feet.
And after you asked them to give you back your vehicle, you testified that they laughed at you.
Y después de que usted testificó de que usted les pidió que le devolvieran su vehículo, usted dijo que ellos se rieron de usted.
Sí.
Yes.
And did they give you back your truck?
Ellos le devolvieron su camioneta.
No.
No.
What did they do, Mr. Parada?
¿Qué hicieron ellos, señor Parada?
Se fueron alrededor de las calles ahí mismo.
They
Sí.
went around the streets right there.
When you say right there, what are you referring to right there?
Cuando usted dice ahí mismo, ¿a qué se refiere? Ahí mismo.
A la calle Timber Creek y luego se fueron para la militar.
The street Timber Creek, and then they went towards military.
Okay, so they leave the front of your residence with your car. What do you do when you see them leaving your residence with your car at that moment?
Ellos se van del frente de su residencia con el carro de usted. ¿Qué hace usted cuando usted los ve que ellos se van alejando en su carro de la residencia?
Le dije a mi vecina que estaba en la parmilla que le hablara a la policía porque yo no tenía el teléfono.
Did the interpreter clarify a word? Que estaba en la parmilla.
En la casa de ella, en la yarda de ella, pues.
I told my neighbor who was on her yard to call the police because I didn't have my phone on me.
And did she call the police?
Y ella llamó a la policía.
Sí.
Yes.
And what did you do next after she called police?
¿Y qué hizo usted después de que ella llamara a la policía?
Fui corriendo a la casa de mi hermana porque como no tenía carro para moverme, para ver para dónde iba, para poder decirle al policía para dónde iba el carro.
I went running to my sister's house since I didn't have a car to move around to go and see where are they going so that I could tell the police.
Okay, and so you're at your sister's house, you have a conversation with her right then, or do you wait till police get to your house?
Entonces usted está en casa de su hermana y usted tiene una conversación ahí mismo con ella o usted espera que la policía llegue a la casa.
La policía nunca llegó ahí.
The police never got there.
So what did you do next after going to your sister's house? What was your next move?
¿Qué hizo usted después de llegar a casa de su hermana? ¿Cuál fue su siguiente movimiento?
Fuimos como para ver dónde iba la troca. Y entonces mi hermana estaba hablando a la policía para qué calle iba mi troca. Sí.
We went to see towards where the truck was going. And then my sister was calling the police to tell them where the truck was going.
At what point, Mr. Parada, did you, or did you ever at some point reach out to your brother, Jose Parada?
¿En algún momento usted contactó a su hermano, el señor Parada?
Sí.
Yes.
When did you do that?
¿Cuándo hizo usted eso?
Pasaron unos minutos.
A few minutes went by.
Okay, so a few minutes went by and you call your brother and what do you tell your brother?
Entonces pasaron unos minutos y usted llama a su hermano. ¿Qué le dijo usted a su hermano?
Le dije, hermano, mi troca vino acá a mi casa y se volvieron a ir rumbo a la Military Drive.
I told him, brother, my truck came here to my house and they left again on the way towards military drive.
And so what did you do next after having that conversation with your brother?
¿Y qué hizo usted después de tener una conversación con su hermano?
Hablé con mi hija para que le llamara a la policía para dónde estaba la troca.
I called my daughter for her to call the police for where the truck was.
Okay. Now, at any point, well, let me ask you this. Why didn't you call the police? I mean, you have a phone. Or did you have a phone?
Déjeme preguntarle esto. ¿Por qué no llamó usted a la policía? ¿Usted tenía un teléfono?
Porque ya la vecina había llamado a la policía.
Because the neighbor had already called the police.
Y yo iba hablando con mi hermano en el teléfono.
And I was on the phone with my brother.
Okay. What did, if anything, at any point, did your brother locate what he believed to be your vehicle?
En algún momento, su hermano ubicó lo que usted creía que era su vehículo.
Sí.
Judge, we'd object to hearsay.
All right, could you repeat your question, please?
So at some point, Mr. Parada, is your vehicle located that afternoon?
En algún punto, señor Parada, encuentran su vehículo esa tarde.
Sí, en el Valero.
Yes, the Valero.
So how much time so at this point, we've established that your vehicle is at the Valero now, right? So how much time passes from when you first see your car basically in your driveway to when your brother spots that vehicle at the Valero? How many minutes approximately, if you can tell me?
Para este punto ya hemos establecido que el vehículo se encontraba en la Valero. ¿Cuánto tiempo transcurrió entre el momento en que usted ve el carro de usted prácticamente en la entrada de su casa y el momento en que su hermano le dice que el vehículo está en la Valero? ¿Cuántos minutos? Si es que puede decir.
Como 10 minutos.
About 10 minutes.
Now, at some point, do you arrive? Well, let me ask you this. So from the point where your brother identifies or sees what may be your Toyota Highlander, do you speak with him anymore during that time period?
En el momento en que su hermano identifica lo que podría ser su Toyota Highlander, ¿usted sigue hablando con él en algún momento?
Sí, cuando le dije le especifiqué que tenía le había puesto un sticker, la troca, de una estrella de Texas, para que se dijera que esa es la mía. Y sí, era.
Yes, when I told him that I had put a sticker on the truck to see that it was mine, and then yes, it was mine.
Okay, so your brother's speaking to you while what you believe while he's there at the Valero. Is that accurate?
Entonces, su hermano está hablando con usted mientras usted cree que él está allí en la Valero, ¿cierto?
Sí,
Yes.
And so your brother looks at the car, he asks you if your car has a star on it, right?
Entonces, su hermano ve el
Star.
carro y le pregunta si el carro tiene una estrella, ¿cierto?
sí.
Objection hearsay, Judge.
Sustain.
And in that moment, Mr. Parada, once your vehicle has been identified at the Valero, what steps do you take next?
Y en ese momento, señor Parada, cuando su vehículo ha sido identificado en esa Valero, ¿qué pasos tomó usted después?
Llegar al Valero a ver la troca, donde estaba mi hermano.
Arriving to the Valero to see the truck where my brother was.
And on your way to the Valero, did you speak with any other family members on your way there?
Y en camino a la Valero, ¿usted habló con algún otro familiar de camino para allá?
Sí,
Yes.
What did you ask them to do, Mr. Parada?
¿Qué le pidió usted a ellos que hicieran, señor Parada?
We'd object to hearsay, Judge.
That'll be overruled.
ellos venían hablando con la policía para decirle que estaba en el Valero, la troca.
They were talking to the police to tell them that it was
That'll
at
be
the Valero.
sustained.
Hearsay.
All right, that answer would be, no, oh, no, you're fine. That answer would be sustained.
Mr. Parada, without telling me
Señor
what
Parada.
someone else told you, Your Honor, strike that question, Your Honor. Mr. Parada, so fast forward from the moment where you spot your car outside your house, at this point, you're at the Valero, you get to the Valero, right?
Señor Valero, señor Parada, avanzamos al momento en donde usted vio el carro frente a su casa y ahora usted llegó a la Valero, ¿cierto?
Sí.
Yes.
Now, when you're there let me ask you this, as far as the information about the 911 call that was made by your neighbor and the fact that police were contacted, you provided this information to law enforcement?
Déjeme preguntarle esto con respecto a la llamada que hizo su vecina al 911 y la policía que fue contactada. ¿Fue usted quien ofreció esa información?
Sí.
Yes.
And do you know if they, if you know, do you know if they verified what you're telling this jury today?
Y sabe usted, si es que sabe, si ellos verificaron lo que usted le está diciendo ante este jurado el día de hoy.
Sí.
Yes.
Did you provide them your call logs? Of what, who you called during that day, during that 10-15 minute time period?
Usted le proporcionó su registro de llamada, las personas a las que usted llamó durante ese periodo de 10-15 minutos.
Sí.
Yes.
So fast forward, you're at the Valero, when you get to the Valero, what is it that you see? What do you see when you get to the Valero?
Entonces avanzamos, usted llega a la Valero. ¿Qué es lo que usted ve al llegar a la Valero, señor?
Me encuentro con, está mi hermano y el hombre y la mujer están peleando entre los dos, están agarrando a mi hermano.
I find that my brother is there and the man and the woman, they're fighting in between them and they're grabbing my brother.
And so is there any other, so you said the man and the woman, which man and woman are you referring to, sir?
Usted dice el hombre y la mujer. ¿A qué hombre y a qué mujer se refiere usted, señor?
Me refiero a los que habían robado el carro.
I'm referring to the ones that stole the car.
Okay, so when you get to the Valero, do you walk to your brother?
Entonces, cuando usted llega a la Valero, usted camina hacia su hermano.
Sí.
Yes.
And when you get to your brother, is there anyone else outside of the man and the female with your brother?
Cuando usted llega a la Valero, ¿hay alguien más aparte del hombre y la mujer junto con su hermano?
No.
No.
So what position was your brother facing when you finally get to him at that Valero?
¿Hacia qué posición estaba viendo su hermano cuando usted finalmente llega a la Valero?
Estaba como para el sur, él viendo para el sur y él estaba, el hombre estaba enfrente.
He was like towards the south. He was looking southbound and the other man was looking towards the front of him.
Okay, and when you get there, so when you finally get there, is your brother's back to you or is his front to you?
Entonces, cuando usted llega allí, ¿su hermano le estaba dando la espalda a usted o lo veía de frente a usted?
A la espalda.
His back to me.
Okay, and is everything happening slow, quick, or what do you recall in terms of how this scene is unfolding in front of you?
Y las cosas estaban ocurriendo lentamente o rápidamente. ¿Cómo recuerda usted que las cosas estaban desarrollando frente a usted?
Todo rápido.
Everything fast.
Was anyone screaming when you get there?
¿Había alguien gritando cuando usted llegó allí?
No más ella, la novia de él.
Just her, his girlfriend.
And what is it that you see? So you get there, your brother is, how would you describe the positioning of your brother and this man? How would you describe that?
¿Y qué es lo que usted ve cuando llega allí? ¿Cómo describiría usted la posición de su hermano y de este otro hombre?
Pues lo que logro ver es que mi hermano está agarrada la mano mi hermano tiene la pistola para arriba y él le tiene la pistola agarrada también y la novia también.
Well, what I get to see when I get there is that my brother has his hand upwards with the gun, and then he is holding his hand with the gun and the girlfriend as well.
So when you get there, you see that the girlfriend and the man that were in front of your house, driving your Highlander, had their hands somewhere near your brother's hand, and the gun is facing the air.
Entonces, cuando usted llega allí, usted dice que ve al hombre y la mujer que iban manejando la Highlander cuando estaba frente a su casa, sosteniendo la mano de su hermano que tiene el arma hacia arriba apuntando hacia el aire.
Sí.
Yes.
And tell me what else you see after that.
Y dígame qué más vio usted después de eso.
Pues lo que yo podía gritarle a ella a él y a ella que lo soltara las manos de mi hermana.
Well, that I could yell to her and to him to let go of my brother's hand.
At any moment, did you grab onto the male or the female that were there?
¿En algún momento usted agarró al hombre o a la mujer que estaban allí?
Nunca.
Never.
And what, if anything, did you tell the male and the female that were there?
¿Qué le dijo usted? Si es que le dijo algo al hombre y a la mujer que estaban allí.
Eso es todo, que soltaran la mano de mi hermano, el arma, que no iba a pasar nada.
That was it. To let go of my hands, my brother's hand, the gun, that nothing was going to happen.
Did you say that in a calm way, or were you excited? Can you describe what your demeanor was when you're telling this gentleman to let your brother's hand go or your arm go?
¿Usted lo dijo de una manera calmada o estaba alterado?
Estaba-
¿Puede decir usted cuál era su comportamiento cuando usted le dijo a este hombre que soltara la mano de su hermano?
Nomás le hablé fuerte para que lo soltara, pero él no entendía nada.
I just spoke loudly so that he would let go, but he wouldn't.
What did the man look like? What did he look like when you get there and you're screaming at him to let your brother's hand go?
¿Cómo lucía el hombre cuando usted llegó allí y le comenzó a gritar para que soltara la mano de su hermano?
Me miraba a mis ojos y se me quedaba viendo y se le miraban los ojos grandes y me quedaba a mí. Me miraba y y las novias lo agarraba también con las manos así.
He would look me in the eye. He had like big eyes like that, and he would stare at me. And the girlfriend would also hold him too.
And Mr. Parada, you indicated that things were happening fast. How much time would you say passed from the time that you get to the Valero to the time where you're having this interaction with Mr. Cepeda, the man and his girlfriend? How much time passes?
Señor Parada, y usted dice que las cosas estaban ocurriendo rápidamente. ¿Cuánto tiempo transcurrió entre el momento en que usted llegó a la Valero y el momento en que usted estaba interactuando con este hombre y esta mujer? ¿Cuánto tiempo pasó?
2 segundos.
2 seconds or
So-
fast? Yes, fast.
And Mr. Parada, when did you see when the firearm was discharged?
Señor Parada, ¿usted vio cuando se disparó el arma?
No.
No.
Did you hear the discharge of the firearm?
¿Usted escuchó el disparo del arma?
Sí.
Yes.
And why couldn't you see or why couldn't you see when the firearm was discharged? Sir?
¿Y por qué no pudo usted ver cuando el arma fue disparada?
Porque me dediqué a hablar con la novia para que lo soltaran. En lo que bajé mi vista, se oyó el disparo.
Because I dedicated myself to talk to the girl so that she would let him go. The moment I set my eyes downwards, the shotgun went out.
Okay, so what did you, so once the firearm, once you hear the sound of the firearm, what happens next?
Una vez que usted escucha el sonido del disparo, ¿qué hace usted después?
Nada.
Nothing.
Did you, at that moment, what happens to the individual who gets shot at that moment? What happens to that person? Did you see?
¿Qué pasa con la persona que fue disparada en ese momento? ¿Usted vio?
Nomás cayó para atrás y la novia corrió.
Just fell backwards and the girlfriend ran.
Where did you go after that happened?
¿A dónde fue usted después de que eso pasó?
Me quedé ahí con mi hermano.
I stayed there with my brother.
Okay. At any point when you were there with your brother at that gas pump, did you observe that your brother was pointing the firearm at Mr. Cepeda, the individual who's driving the truck? Did you ever see him point the firearm at his neck? against his neck?
En algún momento, mientras usted estuvo allí, usted observó a su hermano apuntando el arma contra el señor Cepeda, la persona que recibió el disparo,
No.
o apuntando el arma hacia el cuello.
No.
No, no.
Did you see your brother at any point face and point the firearm against Mr. Cepeda's head?
En algún momento usted vio a su hermano apuntando el arma contra la cabeza del señor Cepeda.
No.
No.
And did you have an opportunity to provide a statement to law enforcement about what you observed that day, sir?
Usted tuvo la oportunidad de darle una declaración a las fuerzas del orden público sobre lo que ocurrió ese día, señor.
Sí.
Yes.
And the testimony that you've given today, let me ask you this, have you had an opportunity to review the video statement you provided law enforcement, sir?
¿Ha tenido usted la oportunidad de revisar ese video de la declaración que usted le dio a las fuerzas del orden público?
Sí.
Yes.
And what you're telling this jury here today is your testimony consistent with what you provided law enforcement that day on September 21st of 2022, excuse me, 2020?
Judge, I'd object to bolstering.
That'd be overruled.
Y lo que usted está diciendo hoy aquí a este jurado es consistente con lo que usted dijo en su declaración ese día, el 21 de septiembre de 2020.
Sí.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Parada, you told this jury that this is your brother, right?
Señor Parada, usted le ha dicho al jurado que este es su hermano, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
And you love your brother.
Usted ama a su hermano
Bastante.
a lot.
You do anything for your brother, right?
Usted haría cualquier cosa por su hermano, ¿cierto?
Sí.
Yes.
Would you lie for your brother, sir?
¿Usted mentiría por su hermano, señor?
No.
No.
Mr. Parada, is your brother the aggressive type of individual?
I'd object, Judge, to improper bolstering and improper character evidence.
Judge, under Rule 205, we're allowed to talk about character for peacefulness, Your Honor, and that's what we're doing. We're allowed
That's
to-
an improper question if that's what you're doing. So I'll sustain with regards to the way the question is being asked.
Mr. Parada, in your experience, has your brother ever been in a situation like this before?
Señor Parada, en su experiencia, ¿su hermano alguna vez se ha encontrado en una situación como esta antes?
No.
No.
Is your brother a good person, Mr. Parada?
Su hermano es una buena persona, señor Parada.
100%.
Objection,
100%.
relevance, and bolstering, Judge.
Have parties approach.
And one more question, Mr. Parada, does your brother have a reputation for being a peaceful individual?
Una pregunta más, señor Parada. ¿Su hermano tiene fama de ser una persona pacífica?
Sí.
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor. We pass the witness.
All right, state.
Yes, Judge. Mr. Prada, my name is Ryan Groomer, and I'm going to ask you a few questions, okay?
Señor Parada, yo le voy a hacer unas cuantas preguntas, ¿ok? Ok.
Mr. Prada, as you said, when Mr. Lada questioned you, you love your brother, correct?
Señor Parada, como usted dijo cuando el señor Lara le da más a su hermano, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
You don't want anything to happen to him.
Usted no quiere que nada le ocurra.
Sí.
Yes.
Mr. Prada, I want to talk about the day that you went to the Valero. Can you tell me when you pull up in the Valero and you first see the two men and the woman, your brother, the man who got shot, and the woman, what is the first thing you see when you get there?
Señor Parada, quiero hablar del día que usted llegó a la Valero. Cuando usted entró a la Valero y usted vio a los dos hombres y a la mujer, que es su hermano, el hombre que resultó disparado, y la novia, ¿qué fue lo que usted vio?
Una pelea entre ellos.
a fight in between them.
And by fight, can you tell me what was your brother doing when you first showed up? What do you see your brother doing?
Y al decir pelea, puede decir qué es lo que su hermano estaba haciendo cuando usted llegó.
Cuando los vi, estaban ya con la arma, peleando con la arma que tenía ya en la mano.
When I saw them, they were already with the gun, fighting with the gun on the hand.
Who had the gun?
¿Quién tenía el arma?
Tenía mi hermano y él tenía en la mano de mi hermano sobre la de mi hermana.
My brother had it in him. He had his hand over my brother's.
Did you see your brother grab the man who got shot?
Usted vio a su hermano agarrando al hombre que fue disparado.
Estaban agarrados los dos.
They were both grabbing each other.
Did you ever see your brother have the man grabbed by his shirt?
En algún momento usted vio que su hermano tenía al otro hombre agarrado por la camisa.
Tenía la otra mano, sí.
He had him on the other hand, yes.
And just explain that to me again. Your brother had, where was your brother grabbing the other man?
Explíqueme eso. ¿Dónde estaba su hermano agarrando con la otra mano?
Como la mano de él y luego la mano del otro con la mano de él. Ambos estaban los dos manos.
Like his hand and then the other guy's hand, they were both grabbing.
Did you ever see your brother grabbing the shirt of the other man?
Usted en algún momento vio a su hermano agarrando la camisa del otro hombre.
No.
No.
Did you ever see the man pulling away from your brother while your brother had him by the shirt?
En algún momento usted vio al otro hombre alejándose de su hermano mientras su hermano lo tenía agarrado por la camisa.
No.
No.
When you got there and you first see them, how far away are they from your vehicle?
Cuando usted llegó y los vio por primera vez, ¿qué tan lejos estaban ellos del vehículo de usted?
Unos 15 pies.
About 15 feet.
And as they were, you said fighting, are they moving away from the vehicle or towards the vehicle?
Mientras ellos estaban, usted dijo que peleaban. ¿Se iban alejando del vehículo o se iban acercando al vehículo?
Ya se iban retirando del vehículo.
They were getting away from the vehicle.
During the time that you were there, did you ever see your brother point the gun at the man?
Durante el tiempo que usted estuvo allí, ¿en algún momento usted vio a su hermano apuntando con el arma al hombre?
No.
No.
And Mr. Parada, this jury has seen in evidence a surveillance video. But your testimony is from the time you get there, you never see your brother grabbing the man by the shirt or him point the gun at the man who ends up getting shot.
Sí, señor Parada, este jurado ya ha visto el video de vigilancia de ese día. Y el testimonio de usted es que usted, durante el tiempo que estuvo allí, nunca vio a su hermano agarrando al otro hombre por la camisa o apuntándolo con el arma.
Nunca le apuntó para.
He never pointed the gun.
Did you ever see the man who was shot trying to walk away from your brother?
En algún momento usted vio al hombre que resultó disparado tratando de alejarse de su hermano.
No.
No.
You said you were watching the two men and the woman, but you looked down right when the shot happened.
Usted dijo que estaba viendo a los dos hombres y a la mujer, pero que usted bajó la mirada justo cuando ocurrió el disparo.
Sí. Sí.
Yes, but yes.
Why did you look down?
¿Por qué usted bajó la mirada?
Porque la novia se cayó al piso. Lo jaló a él y ella se cayó sola.
Because the girlfriend fell to the floor. She pulled him and she fell on her own.
The girlfriend pulled who?
Ella lo aló a quién?
a las manos de ellos.
To both, to his hands.
Okay.
The interpreter corrects, their hands.
Can you explain that a little bit to me? Can you tell me why she fell to the ground?
¿Puede explicarme eso un poco más? ¿Puede decirme por qué ella se cayó al piso?
Porque ella lo agarró y se le soltó de las manos de ella. Fue cuando movió agarró las dos manos de ellos y en lo que le agarró así se cayó y se dio el disparo.
Because she grabbed him, and then when her hands let go, that's when she fell. She grabbed both of their hands, and when she fell down and let go, that's when the shot fired.
When that shot fired, could you see where the gun was?
Cuando sonó el disparo, ¿usted vio dónde estaba el arma?
Pues ya estaba en la mano de mi hermano porque él ya había caído así.
Well, it was already on my brother's hand because he had already fallen down.
Who had fallen down?
¿Quién se había caído?
El que murió.
The one that died.
Where was the gun before the man who fell down?
¿Dónde estaba el arma antes de que se cayera el hombre que se cayó?
Mi hermano tenía arriba así, todavía.
My brother had it upwards like this, still.
He was pointing it up in the air.
La estaba apuntando arriba hacia el aire.
Arriba.
Oh. Oh.
Did you see where the man was shot after everything happened? Did you see where he got shot?
¿Usted vio dónde recibió el hombre el disparo después de que todo ocurrió? ¿Dónde le dispararon?
No,
No.
entré en shock. No.
I went into shock. No.
But when you last saw the gun, it was facing up in the air.
Pero la última vez que usted vio el arma estaba apuntando arriba hacia el aire.
Sí.
Yes.
What did the woman do after the man was shot?
¿Qué hizo la mujer después de que el hombre recibió el disparo?
Correr.
Run.
Mr. Parada, you mentioned that as you're approaching these individuals, you're behind them and your brother's back is facing you, correct?
Señor Parada, usted mencionó que mientras usted se acercaba a estas personas, usted se encontraba detrás de ellos y su hermano le daba la espalda a ustedes. ¿Es eso correcto?
Sí,
Yes.
And you said the man who was shot was facing your brother and facing you?
Y usted dijo que el hombre que recibió el disparo estaba de frente a su hermano y de frente a usted.
sí.
Yes.
And you said you never saw that man who was shot trying to get away from your brother.
Usted dice que nunca vio a ese hombre que recibió el disparo tratando de alejarse de su hermano.
No,
No.
You never saw your brother grab him by the shirt and pull on his shirt.
Usted nunca vio a su hermano a agarrarlo por la camisa y alarlo por la camisa.
No.
No.
And you never saw your brother point the gun at the man.
Y usted nunca vio a su hermano apuntando el arma hacia el hombre.
nunca.
Never.
And after this incident occurred, did you talk to a detective that day at the SAPD headquarters?
Y después de que este incidente ocurrió, ¿usted habló con el Departamento de Policía de San Antonio, la jefatura?
Sí,
Yes.
And do you recall, did you tell that detective everything important about what you saw that particular day?
¿Usted recuerda haberle dicho a ellos todo lo que era importante sobre lo que usted vio allí ese día?
sí, y lo hice escrito también.
Yes, and I did it in writing too.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Defense.
No further questions, please.
All right, is this witness excused or subject to recall?
Subject to recall, Judge.
All right. The rule has been invoked. That means that you're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone. You're only allowed to speak to attorneys for state and defense.
Se ha invocado la regla, eso significa que a usted no se le permite hablar sobre su testimonio con nadie. Solo lo puede hablar con los abogados de la fiscalía o los abogados de la defensa. Yes.
And you need to make sure that you're available if either the defense or the state wishes to recall you.
Usted tiene que asegurarse de mantenerse disponible en caso de que la fiscalía o la defensa necesiten volverlo a llamar. Yes.
Thank you. You can step down.
Gracias. Se puede retirar.
All right. Defense, call your next witness.
Yes, Judge. The defense will call Mr. Jose Parada.
All right. Does he need to?
Witness is asking if he goes outside or if he sits down.
No, he'll need to go outside the courtroom.
Yes.
All right. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a brief break because we need to change out the equipment, the interpreter's equipment. All right. So we're going to be back in here at 2:55. And remember my instructions. All right. Everyone, please rise for the jurors.
A and A. Yes.
Thank you.
Sure. A ver, señor, si se corre un poquitín a la izquierda. Ok, perfectamente. Ahí está. I will raise my voice. I'm used to. Thank you.
Your Honor, I have a juror who's asking to see if she could walk around the thing because she has like supports for her leg.
Sure.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
Ready, Judge?
Yes, we're ready.
All right.
All right, everyone, please be seated. State, call your next witness. Sorry, defense, call your next witness.
Yes, Judge, the defense would call Mr. Jose David Parada.
All right, Mr. Parada, if you could raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Sí, lo juro.
Yes, I swear.
All right, if you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
José Parada.
José Parada.
Defense?
Muy bien, defensa.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Parada, let me ask you a few questions. First of all, where do you live, Mr. Parada?
¿Dónde vive usted, señor Parada?
Vivo en el 7338 Timber Creek Drive.
I live at 7338 Timber Creek Drive.
And how long have you lived there,
¿Hace
Mr.
cuánto
Parada?
tiempo que vive ahí, señor Parada?
Desde el 2003.
Since 2003.
And Mr. Parada,
Señor Parada,
how long have you lived here in Texas?
¿cuánto tiempo ha vivido aquí en Texas?
Tengo 32 años.
It's been 32 years.
And are you married, Mr. Parada?
Casado, señor Parada.
Sí.
Yes?
Do you have any children, Mr. Parada?
Señor Parada.
Perdón.
I'm sorry.
Tengo 5.
I have 5.
And how old are they, Mr. Parada?
¿Qué edad tienen ellos, señor Parada?
32,
32,
24.
24.
Tengo twins, cuatas de 19 años
I have twins that are 19 years old
y una de 17.
and one is 17.
Mr. Parada, are you employed at the time, Mr. Parada?
¿Usted está trabajando en este momento, señor Parada?
No,
No.
What type of work did you used to do? Where were you previously employed, Mr. Parada?
O sea, ¿en dónde trabajaba usted previamente?
yo tenía mi compañía de construcción.
I had my own construction company.
And Mr. Parada, what type of construction work would you do?
Hacia usted, ¿qué tipo de trabajo de construcción?
Ladrillo, piedra, concreto y estoco y todo lo que sea de construcción.
It was brick, rock, concrete, and everything that had to do with construction.
And you indicated that you had your own company, correct?
Correcto.
Sí,
Yes,
And you worked with your brother in with that company?
Con su hermano, el de usted en esa compañía.
yo le daba trabajo a él.
I would give him work.
And Mr. Parada, is it work that you do indoors, outdoors, or
Adentro, afuera.
where do you perform this type of work, sir?
Nosotros lo hacemos, si necesitan afuera como bardas y todo, si necesitan chimeneas adentro, lo que necesiten afuera y adentro lo hacemos.
We would do everything, you know, like outside if we need to do it fencing, or inside if we needed to do some fireplace, we would do it all.
And Mr. Parada, let me ask you, for this type of work that you do, is there any specific tools for your trade that you use, Mr. Parada?
Pues realmente todo lo que usamos en la construcción lo utilizamos como serruchos eléctricos, usamos puras cosas que son indispensables para nosotros para trabajar.
Well, really, everything that is needed for construction, we would use it. You know, like electric saws, everything that was used, we would use it.
Is that equipment expensive, or is it cheap type of equipment?
Caro o es barato conseguirlo.
Todo lo de la construcción es caro para usar en la construcción que usamos nosotros.
Everything that is used in construction is expensive. Everything that we used is expensive.
And the equipment that you're referring to, do you recall the day and when the Toyota Highlander was stolen from your brother's home?
Fue robada de la casa de su hermano.
Me repite
Could you repeat the question?
Do you remember the day that the vehicle, the Toyota Highlander, was taken from your brother's home?
Fue llevada de la casa de su hermano.
Bueno, yo vivo cerca de donde mi hermano vivía, bueno, mi hermano ya no vive ahí, pero yo vivía cerca de él y yo le hablé para decirle vamos a trabajar y me dijo, ¿sabes qué? Ya no está la troca. ¿Cómo que no está la troca?
Okay, permítame un momentito. Well, I was living, well, it was closed. Well, it's just that he doesn't live there anymore. So one day he called me and you know, I said, let's go to work. And he said, well, the truck is not there anymore. And he said, what do you mean the truck is not there anymore?
Y le dije, ¿le hablaste, la reportaste? Y él me dijo, ya le hablamos al policía.
And I asked him, did you report it? And he says, yes, we've already called the police.
And what was inside of that Toyota Highlander, Mr. Parada?
Todo tipo de herramientas.
All type of tools.
And the tools that were inside of that Highlander, are those the tools that you were referring to that in your trade, saws and electric machines? Is that the type of equipment that was in the Highlander?
¿Ese es el tipo de equipo que tenía dentro de la Highlander?
Sí, correctamente.
Yes, correct.
And is that equipment important for you and for your brother to be able to do your work?
Para usted y para su
Objection,
hermano,
asking
para que pudiesen hacer su
Overrule.
trabajo. No conteste, no conteste. I'm sorry, Your Honor, the interpreter did not hear your. ruling.
Overruled.
Overruled. Se rechaza la objeción, puede contestar.
¿Me puedes repetir la?
Could you repeat the question?
Sure, the equipment that was inside the Toyota Highlander, that was what you referred to as electric saws and other electrical equipment that you and your brother use for purposes of making a living.
Para ganarse la vida.
Sí, porque teníamos unos trabajos que estábamos haciendo y cuando los robaron toda la herramienta, los dejamos de hacer y buscaron otras personas.
Permítame un momentito. Yes, because the jobs that we were set to do, you know, since they stole everything, we were not able to do it, and these people looked for somebody else to do them.
Is the equipment that you had in the back of the Toyota Highlander, is that equipment easy to come by? Did you just buy it, you know, within the last year?
Así como en el último año.
Para explicarles, solamente un serrucho que usamos, ese es un ejemplo que de los que traíamos, vale $400.
Okay, permítame un momentito. Well, to explain to you, for example, one of the saws that we had was worth $400.
Y nosotros habían días que nos ganábamos $100 de las 7 a las 7. No íbamos a poder comprarlo.
And there were days where we were making $100 a day working 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and we were not going to be able to purchase it.
Mr. Parada, you're a hard worker.
Trabajo, a veces trabajo los 7 días a la semana para poder sacar mi familia adelante.
Sometimes I work 7 days out of the week in order to be able to get my family ahead.
And Mr. Parada, have you ever been on any form of, strike that question, Your Honor, and you work hard for your family, is that what you, is that accurate?
Sí,
Yes,
Mr. Parada, I want to take you to the day of September the 15th, the day that you find out the material inside the Highlander, along with the Highlander, has been taken. Did your brother at any point communicate to you that there was any progress in locating that Highlander, sir?
The objection to hearsay will be sustained.
Prior to September, let me ask you this, do you recall where you were on September 21st, 2020, sir?
iba llegando a mi casa y le dije a mi esposa que me diera de cenar a esa hora.
I was arriving home and I asked my wife to give me dinner at that time.
Mr. Parada, do you recall if prior to September 21st, 2020, if the Toyota Highlander had been recovered by law enforcement?
No,
No.
So
Entonces,
moving back to the incident on September 21st, 2020, you indicated that you recall you were on your way home, you had asked your wife to prepare dinner, I believe that's what you said, is that fair?
que me sirviera la cena.
yes, for her to serve dinner for me.
Okay, so do you recall anything out of the ordinary that took place on your drive home that afternoon or that evening?
¿Me puede repetir otra vez la?
Could you repeat again the?
Yes, sir. Do you recall anything out of the ordinary that took place on your drive to your house that evening or afternoon, sir?
No, cuando llegué a mi casa es que cuando recibí la llamada de mi hermano.
No, when I arrived home, that's when I received my brother's call.
Okay, and when you say you received your call from your brother, what was it in reference to?
A que había pasado la troca, que se habían parado en la casa de él, pero que se habían ido.
That the truck had passed by over at his house, that they had stopped at the house, his house, but they had left.
Okay, and what did you do once you find out that the truck, the Highlander, had been spotted outside of your brother's house, but they had left? What was your next step then?
¿Cuál fue su siguiente paso de usted?
Le dije a mi esposa que no iba a cenar, que iba a ir a ver, que mi hermano me había dicho que habían visto la troca.
I told my wife that I was not going to have dinner, that I was going to go see about the truck, that my brother had told me about the truck.
Were you aware, or did you know that your brother had asked his neighbor to call 911 to help locate the vehicle?
Sí, fue lo primero que le dije yo y me dijo, ya le hablaron a la policía.
Yes, that was the first thing that I told him, and he said they've already called the police.
Okay, so from the moment that you get that first phone call, you communicate with your brother. Where do you go from your house?
Voy para para el lado donde vive mi hermano, ahí colinda con la military.
I went over to where my brother lives. It's right next to military.
And so At some point, you get to that location. When you get to that location, are you, at any point, are you communicating directly with your brother?
¿Usted se está comunicando directamente con su hermano?
Sí, él me dijo, sabes que agarraron para la militar, pero él ya no sabía para dónde iban.
Yes, at one point he told me that they went over towards military, but he didn't know where they were going.
At any point,
En algún momento,
within that time period that you get the first phone call,
que
do
recibe la
you
primera llamada
spot what you believe is the Toyota Highlander?
que es la Toyota Highlander.
Bueno, yo me fui despacito con la troca viendo todos los lados y llegué hasta donde está el valero. Pues yo conocía esa troca porque yo la había comprado con mi hermano.
Permítame un momentito.
Well, I was going very slowly, looking all around, looking at all the trucks, and then I reached the Valero. And I knew that truck pretty well because I had purchased it along with my brother.
Okay, so you get to the Valero, how much time passes
¿Cuánto
from
tiempo
the
pasa
first phone call that you get
de la primera llamada
to
que recibe
when you arrive at the Valero?
cuando llega a la Valero?
Como unos 5 minutos, pienso yo que sucedieron. Pienso, porque no miré el tiempo, pero yo digo unos 5 minutos.
About 5 minutes, I think. I think that's what it is, about 5 minutes. I didn't look at the time.
So you get to the Valero, sir, and what do you do? What's, when you arrive at the Valero, you get out of your truck, but what do you do? What is the next thing that you do,
¿Qué es
sir?
el paso siguiente que usted hace? ¿Qué es lo siguiente que usted hace?
Yo me bajé de mi troca y observé 2 personas adentro.
I got off my truck and I observed 2 people inside.
Y lo que hice, traía mi teléfono en la mano, no recuerdo si a la derecha o a la izquierda, pero traía mi teléfono y me fui un poco caminando y llegué, me fui despacito, primero empecé a mirar, a ver si miraba la herramienta.
Permítame un momentito. Well, the first thing I did is that I remember I had my phone in my hand. I don't remember whether it was the right hand or the left hand. I was walking very slowly, and the first thing that I saw was the tools.
Muy bien.
No, I'd like to correct, I believe the testimony was that.
Excuse me, no, the interpreter
La intérprete
is
es-
the interpreter.
es la
So
intérprete.
ladies and gentlemen of the jury,
Los del jurado
if anyone speaks Spanish,
hablan español.
the English language, the translation is from the interpreter. You cannot use your own language abilities. And defense, you're not allowed to use your own language abilities.
Mr. Parada, when you arrived and you testified that you went to the back of the vehicle.
Fue a la
Is
parte
that
de
accurate?
atrás del vehículo, ¿es eso correcto?
Sí,
Yes,
Is your testimony that you saw the tools or were you looking for the tools?
Herramientas o estaba buscando las herramientas?
no las vi porque no se alcanzaba a mirar.
I wasn't able to see them because I wasn't, you couldn't see them.
So, Mr. Parada, at that point, what do you do
En ese
next?
punto dado, ¿qué hace usted después?
Estaba hablando con mi hermano y porque él le había puesto como una estrella que las trocas más caras las traen de las Toyota Highlander y él le había puesto para que se mirara como esa.
Bueno, permítame un momentito. Well, I was talking to my brother and he had put a star on it because some of the trucks that are more expensive, he had put a star on it, so it would look like those.
Mr. Parada, what do you do next after that, Mr.
Y
Parada?
después de eso, ¿qué hace usted?
Le hablé a mi hermano y le dije, mira esto. Dijo, sí, esa es, hermano.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, the interpreter needs a repetition on that answer.
A ver, repítame lo que acaba de decir.
Cuando yo le dije a mi hermano, mira, tiene la estrella de la troca de nosotros, me dijo él, sí, esa es la troca de nosotros.
Permítame. Well, when I told my brother, look, it has the star, our star, he said, yes, that is our truck.
So at the time that you're behind the vehicle and next to the vehicle, you testify that you're on the phone communicating directly with your brother?
Comunicándose directamente con su hermano.
Sí, me comuniqué con mi hermano.
Yes, I call my brother.
How much time has passed at this point from when you get out of your vehicle to when you're looking at the back of that Toyota Highlander?
Cuando usted está viendo la parte de atrás de esa Toyota Highlander.
como un minuto, pienso yo, no recuerdo, no me recuerdo el tiempo en ese rato.
About a minute, I think. I don't remember the time at that moment.
Okay, so you're communicating with your brother. Why, so at that moment, did you, why were you
Porque
inspecting the vehicle
estaba
so
usted
thoroughly?
I'm sorry, could you repeat for the interpreter? Why?
Why were you inspecting the vehicle so thoroughly, sir?
¿Por qué estaba usted inspeccionando el vehículo ahí, señor?
Para estar seguro que era el vehículo de nosotros.
To make sure it was our vehicle.
Now, once you confirmed that that was in fact
Es
your vehicle,
su vehículo.
why didn't you call police at that point?
En ese momento.
Porque mi hermano me dijo que ya le habían hablado.
Because my brother told me that they had already called them.
At any moment, did you advise
Usted le avisó
someone from your family that
usted que
the vehicle was located at the Valero and that law enforcement should go to the Valero?
y que la policía se debía dirigir a la Valero?
No, solamente con el que estaba hablando era con mi hermano y él, cuando yo le dije la ubicación del vehículo, él me dijo, fue cuando le habló, no recuerdo a quién le habló porque yo no estaba viendo a quién estaba hablando él, pero
Permítame. No, only that, I was talking to my brother and I was telling him the location of the vehicle. I don't know who he called. I don't know who he was talking to.
And Mr. Parada, at that time, you finally confirmed that it's your vehicle. Do you at any point, or tell me what you do next, sir?
Dígame, ¿qué hace usted paso siguiente?
perdón,
I'm sorry.
me acerqué a la ventana del lado del manejador
I got close to the window of the driver
y yo le decía que en español, pues, que saliera.
and I was telling them in Spanish to get out.
Y yo yo llegué, cuando ya le hablé a él, yo miré que estaba una pipa fumando él y yo no sé de qué era la pipa porque realmente yo no sé de qué era.
Permítame un momentito. And then when I observed, I saw that he had a pipe and he was smoking. I really don't know what it was. I don't know about that.
Pero fue rápido todo y yo nomás miré que como que él hizo así a algo como de la guantera o pues.
Okay. Well, and everything was very fast. All I saw, I just saw that he did something really fast with the
Guantera o como
I'm sorry, the interpreter needs a moment.
deja guardar los papeles.
One moment, please. Glove compartment.
Y en ese momento defundé mi arma.
And at that moment, I pulled out my gun.
Okay, and so
Entonces,
at any point,
en algún
do you remember
recuerdo
if Mr. Cepeda had exited the vehicle?
había salido del vehículo.
Abrió la puerta, pero la volvió a cerrar.
He opened the door, but he closed it again.
Now you indicated you took out your firearm.
Usted sacó su pistola.
Did you take out your firearm with your right hand or your left hand?
Pistola con su
Do you
mano
remember?
derecha o su mano izquierda, si recuerda.
Derecho.
Right.
And what was your intention
¿Cuál fue
at that
cuál era
point
su
when you took out your
intención
firearm?
cuando usted sacó su arma de fuego?
Detenerlo para que lo arrestara la policía.
To detain him in order for police to arrest him.
You indicated that you saw that he moved quickly to something that was
Algo
to
que
the
estaba-
glove box. Where was the glove box located in the Highlander?
¿Y dónde estaba la billetera ubicada en la Highland?
Está así, pero yo nomás, como fue todo rápido, yo puse la vista y pues yo saqué mi arma, pero yo no sabía qué es lo que iba a pasar cuando...
Permítame, permítame. Well, it was like this. It was really fast, and I was looking. I had my weapon. I don't know what was going to happen. No sabía qué iba a pasar.
Sí.
Adelante.
Y entonces pasó todo, no fue mucho tiempo para que pasara. La muchacha esta que andaba, porque era una mujer,
Permítame. And this happened, it was not a lot of time, you know, by the time it happened. And this girl, it was a woman. Era una mujer.
sí.
Adelante.
Y yo me fui un poquito para atrás y ella prendió el carro y hizo para, no sé si era para adelante o para atrás, pero cuando se fue para atrás yo tuve que brincar del carro.
And, you know, she moved back and she turned the car on, and I don't know if she was going to go forward or backward, but I had to move back for the car. Come on.
Was anyone screaming at it? I'm sorry. Okay. Was anyone screaming at any direction? Were they screaming at you or were you screaming at them for them to get out of the vehicle?
¿Usted le estaba gritando a alguien para que se bajaran del vehículo?
Yo le grité a ellos que se bajaran, pero ellos estaban usando puras palabras malas, los dos, para
Well,
mí.
I scream at them for them to get out, but they were just screaming a lot of profanity towards me.
Okay, so you said that you had to jump out of the way when the vehicle came in your direction. Objection, Your Honor, misstatement of testimony.
I'm sorry, I can't hear what you said.
Sorry, misstatement of the testimony.
All right, that'll be overruled.
Muy bien, se rechaza la objeción. Continúen.
Sí, cuando yo estaba casi cerca de lo de atrás, el carro se vino de reversa. Si yo no brinco, me hubiera arrollado con el carro ella.
Well, I was close to the back, and if I didn't jump, she would have run over me with the car.
And Mr. Parada, at that point, do you recall what happens next? What do you do next?
O sea, ¿qué es lo que usted hace?
Hay muchas cosas que me he olvidado porque en fue un momento muy malo que me sigue marcando mi vida.
There's many things that I've forgotten now because there's many things that are still marking my life.
Pero yo sí le apunté con la arma a la persona, a la mujer, pero
But I did point my gun at her, at the woman, but
para que no se fueran, pero yo siempre mantuve mi dedo afuera de la pistola.
for them not to leave, but I always maintain my finger away from the gun.
So, Mr. Parada, at any point, at what point do they get out? Do you see them get out of the vehicle, sir?
¿En qué punto dado fue que usted los vio a ellos bajarse del vehículo?
Pues cuando ya estaba chocada la troca, se bajaron ellos y caminaron para la pompa, así para atrás.
Well, when the car was already crashed, they got out and they walked towards the pump in the back.
Well, let me ask you this. So at any point, do you pull Mr. Cepeda out of the vehicle?
El señor Cepeda, fuera del vehículo, objeción.
Overruled.
Se rechaza la objeción. Contesta.
Contesta.
Should I answer?
You
Yes.
can answer, sir.
Sí, puede contestar.
Me la repite.
Can you repeat?
At any point, did you pull Mr. Cepeda out of the Toyota Highlander?
Jaló al señor Cepeda para sacarlo de Highlander.
Sí, cuando comenzó todo, lo quise sacar, pero de ahí ella lo agarró de la mano y se fueron caminando.
Yes, at one point when it all started, I wanted to get him out, but she grabbed him by the hand and they started walking.
So, and tell me what at that moment when he gets out of the vehicle and you're next to him, sir, what's going through your mind at that point?
Yo estaba pensando detenerlos para que la policía llegara y lo alcancé allí otra vez y allí entonces ahí se metió ella pero yo siempre mi pistola la traía así siempre.
Permítame. Well, the only thing I was thinking is to detain them, to stop them until the police arrive. And I was able to reach up to him, but I always had my gun up like this.
Y ahí pasó, yo no sé cuántos segundos pasaron que estábamos agarrados y yo no vi a mi hermano que iba caminando Yo no lo vi porque estábamos como, no, estábamos agarrados los.
And well, what happened, it was just seconds and we were just, like grabbing each other. We were tussling. My brother, I didn't see him because we were both there. Su hermano, y estaban ahí, ¿qué más?
Sí, en ese momento yo estaba y yo nunca lo vi a él porque yo estaba nomás enfocado que no me fuera a quitar mi arma.
And I never saw him. I was just focused on him, making sure that he would not take my gun.
And Mr. Parada,
Señor.
when you're tussling with Mr. Cepeda, do you recall how much time passes from when he gets out of the car to when you begin tussling with him, sir?
Usted empieza a forcejear con él.
No. Pienso que
No, I think it's
1 minuto o 2 minutos, fue rápido, todo pasó rápido.
1 minute, 2 minutes. Everything happened very fast.
At some point, Mr. Parada, there's and you've had an opportunity to see the video from that afternoon, that evening, right?
Correcto.
Aquí,
Here?
Yes, sir.
Sí, señor.
sí, lo he visto todas las veces que hemos estado aquí en la corte.
Yes, I've seen it every time that we've been here in court.
Okay, so at some moment, there's a point in that video when you're behind the gas pump close to a silver car. Do you recall seeing that on the video, sir?
¿Recuerda usted haber visto eso en el video, señor?
Me repite la.
Could you repeat the?
Yes, sir. From the video that was seen in this courtroom, you've seen the video, right? Do you recall a moment when you're behind a gas
Está detrás de la bomba de gasolina,
next to a gray or silver car?
cerca de un carro, ya sea gris o plateado.
Solo me recuerdo cuando estábamos como que él estaba, esta muchacha estaba en medio, él estaba también, pero y me recuerdo eso y me recuerda cuando me ha recordado muchas cosas que no me acordaba en el video.
And well, the only thing I remember that we were where he was, the girl was in the middle and he was too. And I remember a lot of things through the video that I didn't.
And Mr. Parada, at that moment, when you're behind the gas pump, at any point, do you have your firearm pressed up against Mr. Cepeda's neck?
Fuego presionada en contra del cuello del señor Cepeda.
En ningún momento.
At no moment.
At any moment in that time period, do you have your firearm pressed against Mr. Cepeda's head?
En contra de la cabeza del señor Cepeda.
En ningún momento.
At no time.
Was Mr. Cepeda
El señor
taller than you?
era más alto que usted en estatura.
Sí,
Yes.
Was he bigger than you?
Él era más grande que usted.
yo no le podía mirar la cara a él porque yo como estaba, yo nomás estaba así, yo nomás sentía que tenía mi arma y tenía agarrada su mano aquí, él estábamos así los dos con la izquierda y él con su izquierda, yo nomás sentía que me pegaba la mano, pero yo.
Permítame. No, I couldn't even see his face. I just had my weapon here. We had, our hands in hands, my left hand with his left hand. ¿Qué más?
Y nomás yo no le vi la cara, yo nomás estuve segundos y oí el disparo.
I didn't see his face. It was just seconds when I heard the shot.
And Mr. Parada, you had an opportunity to speak with law enforcement prior to, you had an opportunity to speak with law enforcement on that day. Is that fair to say?
En ese día, ¿se puede decir así?
Sí,
Yes.
In fact, that day on September 21st, 2020, you voluntarily provided a statement to law enforcement. Is that fair?
sí.
Yes.
At that moment, had they placed you under arrest, Mr. Parada?
¿Ya lo habían arrestado, señor Parada?
Sí,
Yes.
You went down to speak with detectives and you provided them with what your recollection was at that time. Is that fair to say?
¿Está correcto?
Sí,
Yes?
And do you remember or recall how long that statement,
Esa declaración,
the duration of that statement? Do you remember how long that took?
de esa declaración, ¿recuerda usted cuánto tiempo duró?
no.
No.
What was running through your mind at that time, Mr. Parada, when you're speaking with the detectives?
Eso en el momento que usted estaba hablando con los detectives. Por partes.
Mi mente se volvió gris desde ese momento.
My mind went gray from that point on.
Sentí que todo se me había borrado en un segundo.
I felt that everything had been erased in a second.
Mr. Parada, at the moment when you're tussling with Mr. Cepeda at the gas tank, the gas pump, when you can see it on the video that there's a tussle between you and Mr. Cepeda, the last few seconds of that scene that we can see, and that's the last time we see you in the frame. Did you recall at the time that you gave your statement to law enforcement that Sabrina Espinosa was there in between you two? Did you recall it at the time that you gave your statement?
¿Recordaba usted eso en el momento que dio la declaración?
No recuerdo muy bien, pero poquito me recuerdo porque sentí, creo que le dije al oficial que yo había sentido como que en ese momento yo no sabía qué estaba pasando a mi alrededor, estaba en shock, yo no sabía.
Permíteme.
Well, no, I don't remember too well. I remember very little. I remember telling the officer that I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what was going on. Overrule.
Una ocasión, pero se rechazó.
Mr. Parada, so when you saw that video here in the courtroom,
Aquí en la
you
sala,
saw that
usted
that
vio
Ms. Espinosa is in between you and Mr. Cepeda. You saw that with your own eyes in this courtroom in the past few days?
fotos en esa
Sustained.
sala. No conteste, puso una objeción.
Mr. Parada,
Señor Parada,
do you recall
recuerda
if anyone was in between you and Mr. Cepeda on the video that was shown in this courtroom in the past few days?
en el video que se enseñó en esta sala en los últimos días?
¿Me vuelve a repetir?
Could you repeat?
After seeing that video
Después de haber visto ese video
in this courtroom,
en esta sala,
did you see someone,
era
female,
una mujer
between you and Mr. Cepeda?
y el señor Cepeda.
Ese día
On that day?
Yes, sir.
Sí, señor.
yo me recuerdo poco porque ese día cuando pasó todo eso, mi mente estaba cerrada, yo no asimilaba lo que estaba pasando.
Muy bien, permítame.
Mr.
Well, on that day, I remember very little. Everything was happening. My mind was closed. I didn't understand what was going on. I'm sorry?
You say my mind was closed.
My mind was closed. I didn't understand what was happening.
Mr. Parada,
Parada,
if we look back at
sí,
your statement,
sí,
and if,
eso sí.
let me ask you this, if you did not tell
Si usted no le dijo
the detectives
al detective
that Sabrina
que esa-
had been between you
estaba entre
and Mr. Cepeda,
el señor Cepeda,
does that mean that you were lying to them?
¿usted le estaba mintiendo a ellos? No conteste, ni una objeción.
Overrule.
Se rechaza la objeción. Conteste, por favor.
No es que les estaba mintiendo. Mi mente estaba bloqueada en ese momento.
I was not lying to them. It's just that at at that moment, my mind was blocked.
And from seeing that video,
Ese video,
would you agree with me
estaría de
that
acuerdo conmigo,
the video
el video,
gives an accurate representation
representación
of
verídica,
the events that took place that day?
los eventos que sucedieron ese día?
Sí.
Yes.
In fact, when you see that video,
Usted ve ese video,
you see
usted
that
ve
there are things different
cosas
than
diferentes
how you recalled them.
como usted las recuerda. Objeción.
Sustained.
No conteste.
Is what you've seen in that video, Mr. Parada, are some of those things that you see in the video different than how you remembered them that day?
Pero en ese video son diferentes a como las recuerdas de lo que pasó ese día.
Sí.
Yes,
Mr. Parada, at any moment,
En algún momento,
did you aim that firearm
en esta pistola,
with the intention of shooting Mr. Cepeda?
al señor Cepeda,
En ningún momento.
at no time.
Mr. Parada, at the end of that video clip,
al final de ese video,
we can't see what takes place outside of that
fuera,
still.
en esa pantalla,
Where was your brother at
¿dónde estaba el hermano de usted?
right when you
Justamente cuando
can't be
usted
seen any longer on that video?
ver en ese video.
Yo nunca lo miraba a él porque yo estaba viendo así como para de ustedes y estábamos así los dos.
I never saw him because I was looking like this, like towards you, and we didn't see.
Mr. Parada, you heard your brother's testimony here today.
Escuchó
Is that
el
fair?
testimonio de su hermano aquí el día de hoy. ¿Es eso correcto?
Sí,
Yes,
And your brother has
Su hermano
stated and testified a different version of the facts that you've provided in this case. Would you agree with that?
¿Estaría usted de acuerdo con eso?
bueno, los que he visto en el video porque no me recordaba cuando di mi primera declaración.
well, when I've seen on the video, because I didn't remember when I first gave my first statement.
Porque cuando llegó mi hermano, yo estaba ya con la persona.
Because when my brother arrived, I was already with the person.
My question to you, Mr. Parada, is that were you surprised or are you surprised that your brother who testified here today may have provided a different account of what took place behind pump number 8?
Overrule.
No estoy sorprendido porque eso es lo que estaba sucediendo ese día.
I'm not surprised because that is what was happening on that day.
Mr. Parada, do you recall everything from that evening or that afternoon, sir?
Esa noche o esa tarde, señor.
Cuando llegué a ese punto,
When I arrived at that point,
sí me recuerdo todo, pero cuando ya
I do remember everything, but when
pasó todo, se me borró la mente.
everything occurred, my mind went blank.
Would you, Mr. Parada,
Señor Parada,
what was your intention
¿cuál fue su
that afternoon, that evening,
interacción
with regards to your interaction with Mr. Cepeda?
con el señor Cepeda?
Solamente detenerlo para que lo arrestara la policía.
Only to detain him in order for the police to arrest him.
No further questions.
No
Mr.
tengo más
Witness.
preguntas.
State.
Estado.
Thank you, Judge.
Gracias, juez.
Ms. Friday, you said that you, I guess, had your own business.
Señor, creo que usted dijo que usted tenía su propia negocio.
Tenía.
I had,
You stated that, I guess, that some days you would work from 7 to 7.
Usted dijo que había días que usted trabajaba de 7 a 7.
Sí, cuando comencé mi negocio y todavía lo sigo haciendo.
yes, when I started my business, and I'm still doing it as of today.
And I believe you testified that you're a hard worker, right?
Usted trabaja muy arduo.
Sí,
Yes,
You paid for everything that you had,
Usted paga por todo lo que tiene.
sí.
yes,
and sometimes money was hard to come by.
Y a veces el dinero era difícil conseguirlo.
Correcto.
correct.
So would it be fair to say that you don't like thieves?
I'm sorry, could you repeat for the interpreter?
Would it be fair to say that you don't like thieves?
¿Sería justo decir que a usted no le gustan los ladrones?
No puedo decir eso porque no puedo juzgar las personas.
I can't say that because I can't judge people.
Were you angry when you found out that your truck was stolen?
¿Usted estaba enojado cuando descubrió que le habían robado su camioneta?
No estaba enojado, solamente queríamos recuperar lo que habíamos perdido.
Not angry. We just wanted to recover what we had lost.
Okay, and even though the equipment that you had would take you a long time to replace, you're telling this jury that you weren't angry.
¿Usted le está diciendo a este jurado que usted no estaba enojado?
Yo no estaba enojado por eso.
I was not angry because of that.
How long had your truck been missing?
¿Cuánto tiempo llevaba perdido o faltaba su camioneta?
Tenía aproximadamente unos 20 días, pienso yo.
It was approximately, I think it was like 20 days.
And so on that day, you saw the truck at the Valero, right?
Correcto.
¿Qué día?
What day?
On September 21st of 2020.
Septiembre de 2020.
Cuando me habló mi hermano.
When my brother called me.
When you pulled in front of the truck, what was your intention?
Cuando usted llega y se pone enfrente de la camioneta, ¿cuál era su intención?
Yo primeramente me cercioré que fuera la camioneta de nosotros.
First thing I did is to make sure that it was our truck.
And would you agree with me that you could have called 911 after you confirmed that it was your truck?
Le hablé a mi hermano,
I called my brother.
But you could have called 911, correct?
pero yo estaba hablando con él y él le di la ubicación y él me dijo que ya le habían hablado, no necesitaba hablar otra vez.
But I was talking to him and I gave him the location and he said that he had already called it. I didn't need to call again.
After you confirmed that the truck was yours, would you agree with me that you could have waited for 911 to arrive?
¿Estaría usted de acuerdo que usted podría haber esperado a que 911 llegara?
Bueno, la intención mía era arrestarlo,
Well, my intention was to place him under arrest.
Do you agree with me that you had other options than attempting to place him under arrest?
¿Está de acuerdo conmigo que usted tenía otras opciones aparte de arrestarlo?
yo en ese momento solamente pensaba arrestarlo, que llegara la policía y lo llevara. Esa era mi intención nomás.
At that moment, my only thought was to arrest him and for the police to take him. I didn't have any other intention.
Are you a licensed peace officer, Mr. Prada?
Usted es un oficial del orden público.
No,
No.
And why were you focused on Michael Cepeda?
¿Por qué estaba usted enfocado en Michael Cepeda?
yo no lo conocía a él.
I didn't know him.
Yes, sir, but he wasn't the one driving your vehicle.
Pero él no es el que estaba manejando su vehículo.
Porque mi hermano, cuando él me habló, me dijo el quien iba manejando, entonces ellos ya se habían cambiado. Él llegó manejando a la casa de mi hermano.
Well, because my brother told me when he called me who was driving, so they must have switched because he's the one that was driving when he got to my brother's house.
Yes, sir. Would you agree with me that if you wanted your vehicle to stay there, it would have been best to go after the person currently driving your vehicle?
En ese momento solamente pensé que iba a detenerlo a él para que llegara la policía, solamente eso.
At that moment, I was thinking that I was only going to detain him until the police arrive. I was already thinking of that.
Okay, so your first priority was not to recover your property.
Sí,
Yes.
You just wanted the people to be held responsible who you felt had stolen your truck.
responsabilidad era por aquí aquí en Estados Unidos yo oigo de las leyes y cuando si usted agarra algo, la policía llega y se lo lleva.
Well, the responsibility is here in the United States, according to the laws, if you take something, the police will take you away.
Yes, sir. Would you agree with me that there are trained law enforcement and a court system for that to happen?
pero un ciudadano no puede detener a una persona para que llegue la policía.
But a citizen is not able to detain a person until the police arrives?
That is correct, sir. You cannot detain
Usted
a
no
person.
puede.
Objection, Your Honor, it's mischaracterization.
Sustain.
Se sostiene lo que se- no conteste más nada.
Ms. Prada, why did you have your gun that day?
Could you repeat for the interpreter?
Why did you have your gun with you that day?
Siempre la portaba yo.
I always carried it.
Would you agree with me that bringing out a gun escalates a situation?
Pues yo creo que sí.
Well, I think so, yes.
And so on that day, when you brought out your gun, you escalated the situation, correct?
Yo saqué la pistola porque yo no sabía qué es lo que esa persona iba a sacar del carro.
Well, I pulled out my gun because I didn't know what that person is going to pull out of the car.
But you didn't have to approach the vehicle, am I right?
¿Por qué no?
Why not?
Could you have waited until the police arrived?
Sí, pero si usted fuera a su carro, usted no puede acercarse a su carro.
Well, yes, but if it were your car, couldn't you go close to your car?
No, sir, I wouldn't.
No, señor, no lo haría.
Porque yo creo que usted tiene la razón y yo no tengo razón de acercarme a mi carro, que a usted no le cuesta.
Because I think that you are right and that I can't get close to my car because it doesn't cost anything to you.
No, sir, my question for you is, was your truck working at that time?
¿Su camioneta estaba funcionando en ese momento?
O estaba prendida.
Well, it was on.
Yes, sir. And so if they had left, could you have followed after them?
Si ellos hubieran ido, ¿usted los podría haber seguido?
Yo lo único, como se lo he dicho a usted y se lo dije a la policía, que yo lo único que quería era detenerlos, no arrestarlos, detenerlos para que llegaran los oficiales y ellos hicieran cumplir la ley. Yo no quería hacer cumplir la ley, yo quería que la policía cumpliera la ley.
Muy bien, permítame un momentito. Well, yes, the only thing that I wanted, as I said to you and to the police, is I just wanted to detain them. I did not want to arrest them so that the policeman could make them comply with the law. It's the police that makes them comply with the law.
Yes, sir. My question to you is that if they had left, you could have easily followed after
Ellos,
them.
si hubieran ido, usted fácilmente los podría haber seguido.
Yo no lo hubiera seguido si se hubieran ido. Yo lo único que fue que cuando ya lo detuve a él, allí escaló las cosas más grandes.
Well, no, I wouldn't have followed him if he would have left. The only thing is that when I detained him, things escalated into something bigger.
You're saying you wouldn't have followed him if he had left?
Si se hubiera ido, no lo hubiera detenido, pero como escaló más grande el problema.
If he would have left, I wouldn't have detained him, but the problem escalated.
But you did follow him.
Pero
You
usted
tried to
sabe.
walk away.
Pero usted lo siguió a él trató de alejarse.
Estábamos cerca todos ahí, no era lejos, estábamos en la misma área.
We were all close, it wasn't far. We were all in the same area.
Yes, sir, but would you agree with me that he was walking away from you?
Que él se estaba alejando de usted.
Cuando él se trató de alejar, yo lo quise agarrar a él y ahí ya no hubo tiempo para otras cosas. Ahí estábamos agarrados los dos.
Well, when he was trying to walk away is when I was trying to detain him, and then we were all, tussling each other.
So you did follow after him.
Usted lo siguió, lo persiguió a él.
Yo lo traté de agarrar y ahí ya escaló todo la forma que pasó.
I tried to grab him and everything escalated the way it happened.
Yes, sir. And so my initial question was, couldn't you have just as easily followed him in your vehicle?
Haberlo seguido tan fácilmente en su vehículo.
El vehículo ahí estaba.
The
No se
vehicle
había
was-
ido el vehículo.
The vehicle was there. It had not left.
Yes, sir.
Sí, señor.
They didn't try to leave until you knocked on the window with a gun. Is that correct?
Hasta que usted llegó a tocarles la ventana con la pistola. ¿Es eso correcto?
Yo primero llegué sin mi pistola. Yo llevaba mi pistola enfundada. No
First-
llegué con la pistola apuntándoles.
I first got there without my gun. It was in the holster. I did not get to them pointing the gun at them.
That's not what I asked, Mr.
Eso no fue
Prada.
lo que le
I'm
pregunté.
asking, did they try to drive off
Si ellos
before
trataron
or
de
after
irse
you
antes
pointed the gun
o
at them?
después de que usted les apuntara con la pistola.
Ellos no trataron de irse porque no sabían que yo era dueño de la troca.
They didn't try to leave because they didn't know that I was the owner of the truck.
Mr. Prada, let me show you State's Exhibit
Voy a
2.
enseñar la prueba número 2.
Or sorry, State's Exhibit 1.
Perdón, la prueba de la fiscalía número 1.
This is your truck that we see in the video, correct?
Camioneta, la que vimos aquí en el video, ¿correcto?
Era mi camioneta.
It was my truck.
And it still works?
¿Y todavía funcionaba?
¿Cuál de las dos?
Which of the two?
Was this truck working, operating at the time?
Esta camioneta estaba funcionando, estaba operando.
La,
en ese
la
momento?
de la Highland.
The Highlander,
Your truck that you arrived to the Valero in?
con la que usted llegó a la Valero.
Sí, estaba trabajando, era nueva.
Yes, it was working. It was new.
Yes, sir. And so if they tried to drive off in this Highlander at this point, you could have gotten in your truck and followed them.
Podría haber
Correct.
subido y seguirlos, correcto.
Sí, pero yo estaba abajo y en ese momento lo que quería yo era detenerlos. Si usted se imagina, si uno se pone a seguir a alguien en una troca y hago otro accidente, que pasen otras cosas más grandes.
Permítame un momento. Yes, but the thing is, I was out of the truck. All I was trying to do is detain them. But can you imagine if I start to follow them and there's another accident or something bigger happens?
Mr. Prada, would you agree with me that what we're watching in the video is when you pull out your gun?
Viendo el video es cuando usted sacó su pistola.
Sí.
Yes,
And they are still there, correct?
ellos todavía están ahí, ¿verdad? Yes,
And they don't start moving the vehicle until after you've pulled out the gun,
ellos
correct?
no empiezan a mover el vehículo hasta que después de que usted saca la pistola, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
And then once the vehicle crashes,
Una vez que
Michael-
choca el vehículo, Michael
is attempting to walk away from you at this point, correct?
hace de usted en este punto dado, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes,
But you follow after him.
pero usted lo siguió.
Sí.
Yes.
Did you see a gun in Michael's hand at this point?
Usted vio una pistola en la mano de Michael en este punto dado.
Yo no vi nada. No sé si traía un cuchillo o algo que me podía apuñalar. Yo no sé.
I didn't see anything. I didn't know whether he had a knife that he could stab me. I don't know.
And so if you didn't know if he had a weapon, why are you following after him?
Si él tenía un arma, ¿por qué lo está siguiendo?
Porque quería detenerlo, como le dije, para que la policía lo arrestara.
Because I wanted to detain him, as I told you, for the
And would-
police to arrest him.
Would you agree with me that that is escalating the situation?
Eso es escalar la situación.
Yo lo estaba mirando nomás como un ciudadano que quería detener a alguien para
Pues
que la
es-
policía lo arrestara.
I was just looking at it as a citizen that wanted to detain somebody so the police could arrest him.
Do you believe that you were de-escalating the situation at that time?
¿Usted piensa que usted estaba desescalando, desaminando la situación en ese momento?
Yo lo que estaba pensando cuando eso estaba pasando, porque era en segundos,
What I was thinking at that moment when that was happening, because it was just seconds,
que lo que me había costado a mí, yo se lo digo así, como persona que trabajo,
what it had cost me, and I'm telling you as a person that works,
quería detener a la persona para que la policía la arrestara, porque era trabajo de nuestra vida, no era de usted.
I wanted to detain the person in order for the police to arrest him because it was our work. It was our work, not yours.
And so you were angry that they had taken your truck.
De que ellos se habían llevado su camioneta.
No estaba enojado, lo que quería era que la policía lo arrestara y él nomás si le ponían cargo, iba a ser la policía, no era yo. Yo lo quería no lo quería arrestar yo.
I was not angry. I just wanted for the police to arrest him. If they were going to press charges against him, I wanted the police to arrest him, not me.
Okay, Mr. Prada. You continue to follow after Michael Cepeda, correct?
Sí, para detenerlo solamente.
Yes, only to detain him.
And he continued to try to get away from you, correct?
No, hubo un momento que él se volteó y ahí escaló todo y fueron segundos.
No, that there was a moment when he turned around and that's when it escalated. It was just seconds.
At one point, you grabbed onto Mr. Cepeda and held onto him, right?
Could you repeat the question for the interpreter?
At one point, you grabbed and held on to Mr. Cepeda, correct?
En un punto dado, usted lo agarró al señor Cepeda y lo tenía sujetado. ¿Es eso correcto?
Cuando llegamos a ese punto, ya estábamos agarrados.
When we got to that point, we were already,
Él estaba más grande y yo sentía la mano aquí y yo lo apoyé con mi mano izquierda, lo agarré así y estábamos así
he was
y con
bigger.
esta mano izquierda él me tenía así y yo no lo podía ver a él.
Permítame un momentito. He was bigger and with this hand, you know, the left hand, it was being held like this and he was holding it like this, like so, and I was not able to see him.
Mr. Prada, you heard Christopher Cooper and Johnny Solis testify, correct?
Sí,
Yes?
And you heard them both say that you held the gun up to Michael Cepeda's head, correct?
Usted nos escuchó a los dos decir que usted le señaló la pistola a Michael hacia la cabeza, ¿verdad?
yo no se le enseñé la cabeza, yo cuando estábamos, la pistola siempre la tenía hacia arriba.
It was not to the head. I always had the pistol, you know, up.
Okay, so are you telling the jury that Charles Cooper and Johnny Solis lied when they said that you had the gun to his head?
Estaban mintiendo cuando dijeron ellos que usted tenía la pistola apuntada a la cabeza.
Mire, usted mira el video, cuando salen ellos yo les apunto, pero después nada más.
When you can see the video, when they come out, I pointed at them, but that was it.
Okay, so are you saying that they're lying?
Dice entonces que ellos estaban mintiendo.
Yo no he dicho eso.
I have not said that.
And you did say that,
Usted dijo,
I guess you went gray, right? Or you don't remember things as well?
"Puso gris la cabeza, que no recuerda bien las cosas."
No, cuando pasaron esas cosas,
When that happened,
yo he trabajado toda mi vida.
I've
Yo
worked all my life.
he sido una persona que no me gustan los problemas
I'm a-
y ese día lo que me pasó no era nada fácil para asimilarlo porque yo no le he hecho daño a nadie en este país ni en ningún otro país.
I'm a person that does not like any trouble. It's not easy for me to assimilate it. I have not done anything bad, any harm to any person in this country.
Well, you did do harm on that day, right, Mr.
Pero
Perez?
usted sí, lastimó a alguien o algo ese día, ¿verdad? Hizo daño ese día.
Yo no le he hecho daño a él porque los dos, él tenía agarrada mi arma.
I did not harm him because he was grabbing onto my weapon.
Mr. Perez, in the video, would you agree with me that Michael was pulling away from you?
Michael se está alejando de usted.
Sí, yo lo quería detener, como le volví a repetir, yo lo quería detener solamente.
Yes, I wanted to detain him. I repeat again to you, I just wanted to detain him.
Yes, sir. And I want to take you to a specific part in the video.
Llevar a una parte específica en el video.
Even in these last moments of Michael's life, he's still walking backwards. Am I right?
Sigue caminando hacia atrás, ¿es eso correcto?
Sí,
Yes.
And actually, at this point, we see Michael fall down, correct?
Se cae, ¿verdad?
Is that what we're seeing here?
Eso es lo que vemos aquí.
no sé, no lo miro claro yo eso.
I don't know. I can't see it too clear.
Okay. Do you see the person in black right here?
De negro que está aquí.
¿Dónde?
Where?
This person.
esta persona.
Pegado a la troca.
Next to the truck,
That person right there.
esa persona, ahí.
The person I marked in red.
La
Can you see that
persona que
person
marqué
in
en
black?
rojo. ¿La ve ahí?
Sí.
Yes.
And if that's Sabrina, she's actually in front of Michael, correct?
De Michael, en realidad, ¿verdad?
Is Sabrina the person in black in front of Michael, who I'm marking in green, the one who's falling around, falling down? She's in front of him, correct?
Ella está enfrente. Ah, está en verde, ¿verdad?
Pues yo recuerdo que nomás estábamos ahí, ahí fue donde, ahí comenzamos que ella estaba en medio de nosotros, pero yo, de allí estábamos forcejeando, ya no le miraba la cara yo ni a él. Ahí en ese momento yo no le miraba la cara a él.
I remember that we were there, that we were starting to, well, she was in the middle and we started tussling and I couldn't see his face. She was in the middle.
And Michael in green is falling down at this point. Would you agree with me?
Él se está cayendo en este punto dado. ¿Está usted de acuerdo?
No se cayó.
He didn't fall.
Yo nunca lo vi en el suelo a él.
I never saw him on the ground.
We'll come back to that. This person here that I just marked in yellow,
De amarillo.
can you tell who that is?
¿Usted puede decir quién es esa persona?
Es mi hermano.
It's my brother.
So let's go through this frame by frame and tell me if you can tell the jury whether or not Michael is falling down.
Dígale al jurado a ver si ese documento se está cayendo.
Are you saying that he's not falling at that point?
¿Usted está diciendo que en ese punto dado uno no se está cayendo?
Pues ella anda en medio ahí nomás.
Well, she was in the middle, just.
No, Mr. Pratt, I'm asking if Michael Cepeda is falling at that time.
Cepeda que se está cayendo en ese momento.
Pues vamos agarrados los dos.
Well, we're both grabbing each other.
Mr. Pratt, I really wish you would just answer my question.
Your Honor,
Michael
I'm gonna
Cepeda-
object sidebar. If you could ask the question.
Sustained.
Would you please answer my question? Is Michael Cepeda falling at the
Your Honor,
time?
again, I'm object again sidebar.
Like, that would be overruled.
Se rechaza la función.
And the color sort of changes, right? Can we tell, does it appear to you whether or not this shirt is being lifted over his head?
And Your Honor, I'm gonna object argumentative.
No, no,
Overruled.
ahora sí contesta.
You can answer. Mr.
Puede
Pratt.
contestar, señor
¿Qué
Parada.
la pregunta?
What was the question?
Was Michael Cepeda falling at this time and was his shirt being lifted over his head?
Your Honor, I'm gonna object compound question.
Overruled.
Le estaba, la camisa le estaba saliendo por arriba de la cabeza, se la estaba jalando. Pues
Pues-
una ocasión se puede contestar.
¿Puedo contestar?
Can I answer?
Yes.
Sí.
Pues yo no me recuerdo eso.
I don't remember that.
Okay, but I'm asking, what does it appear to you in the video? You can answer.
Puede contestar.
Sí, yo solo miro que estamos como que sí se fuera a caer él, pero no,
Yes, yes, all
Pero-
I can see is that he looks like he was about to fall, but
Yes, sir. But-
pero
solamente pero yo no me acuerdo nada de eso. Cuando estábamos agarrados solamente, pero cuando se cayó él, yo no me acuerdo de eso, ni
Permítame,
de la
permítame.
muchacha.
permítame. Yes, but you know, we were grabbing each other and when he was gonna fall, well, I don't remember that and I don't remember the girl.
Ms. Prada, how long have you had that firearm?
¿Hace cuánto tiempo que tienes arma de fuego?
Yo tenía como un año.
I have, it had been about a year.
How many times had you fired it?
¿Cuántas veces la ha disparado?
Yo la disparé como unas 4 veces cuando iba con mis hijas al campo de entrenamiento.
I
La
fired
llevaba a
it-
mis hijas.
I fired it, I would say maybe 4 times when I would go to the shooting range with my daughters. We would shoot there.
You've gone to the shooting range 4 different times?
Al campo de disparo unas pocas veces, fue.
Con mis hijas. he
With
ido.
my daughters, yes.
Has the firearm ever fired on its own without you pulling the trigger?
¿Alguna vez el arma o la pistola se ha disparado sola sin que usted jale el gatillo?
Una vez que estaba ahí donde estaba tirando la pistola,
Once, when I was over there, I was shooting the gun.
descargué la pistola y cuando la descargué no saqué el magazine
I was unloading the gun, and when I unloaded it, I did not take the magazine out,
y la coloqué donde se pone la pistola
and I placed
y,
where the
y
gun goes.
cuando la levanté así, se fue el disparo
And when I
y
picked
me
it up, like-
regañaron también por eso, me regañaron los instructores.
permítame, when I picked it up like so, it fired, and they even scolded me about that. They scolded me.
Ms. Prada, why would you carry a gun on your person that allegedly fires on its own?
En su persona, que presuntamente se dispara por sí sola.
No se dispara por sí sola porque esa vez yo no miré que tenía la bala dentro.
Well, it doesn't shoot on its own. It's just that at that time, I didn't see that it had a bullet inside.
Okay, but did you pull the trigger that time?
Pero usted en ese entonces, ¿jaló el gatillo?
La toqué, la agarré,
I
que la
touched-
iba a poner carga.
I touched it, I grabbed it, I was gonna load it.
Okay, so you did pull the trigger.
O sea que usted sí jaló el gatillo.
¿Para qué?
For what?
When the gun fired, did you pull the trigger that time?
Cuando la pistola disparó, ¿usted apretó el gatillo aquella vez?
¿Cuándo?
When?
When you're saying that it fired on its own, did you pull the trigger or did you not pull the trigger?
Sí, yo le jalé al gatillo.
Yes, I pulled the trigger. Muy bien.
Did you have a concealed handgun license or a license to carry?
Una licencia para portar armas o para portar armas encubiertas.
Yo tenía mi licencia.
I had my license.
And so would you agree with me
¿Estaría usted de acuerdo conmigo?
that you're trained to never pull out a firearm and point it at someone
A nunca
unless you
sacar
intend to kill them?
y señalarla o apuntarla a ninguna persona, menos que usted tenga la intención de matar a esa persona?
No lo entrenan así como dice usted.
They don't train you the way you're saying.
Los dicen que podemos sacar nuestra arma cuando creemos que nuestra vida puede estar en riesgo.
They tell us that, yes, we can pull out our gun when we feel that our life is at risk.
I'm asking you about pointing it at someone.
En cuanto a apuntarla hacia alguien.
Were you not trained that you're not
Usted no
supposed to
debe
point your firearm at someone unless you intend to shoot and kill them?
apunte a alguien a menos
Bueno,
que tenga- permítame, a menos que tenga la intención de matar a alguien.
No me enseñaron nunca que de apuntar a alguien para matarlo. Eso yo nunca lo he recibido ni lo hiciera.
They've never taught me that I'm not supposed to point the gun at somebody if you're not going to shoot them. They never said that.
Okay,
Muy bien.
and did they never tell you that you're supposed to keep your finger off the trigger unless you intend to shoot?
Usted tiene que mantener su dedo fuera del gatillo a menos de que usted tenga la intención de disparar.
Yo lo tenía fuera del gatillo.
I had it off the trigger.
Okay, so you knew that rule, but not the other one.
Usted sabía de esa regla, pero no de la otra.
¿De cuál otra?
Which other?
To not point it at someone unless you intended to
Apuntarla
kill them.
hacia alguien a menos que tuviese la intención de matar a esa persona.
Yo no lo veo como usted lo está diciendo, pero
I don't see it the way you're saying it.
a mí yo saqué el arma
I pulled out the gun
porque no sabía lo que tenía la otra persona,
because I didn't know what the other person had.
pero no,
Mr. Prada, that's not non-responsive. That's not what I asked you.
Respuesta, porque no es lo que le
I
pregunté.
just asked, were you trained
A
to
usted,
only point the firearm at someone if you intended to kill them?
Your Honor, unobject, asked and answered 3 or 4 times already, Judge.
All right, that'll be overruled.
Conteste ahora, por favor.
You can answer.
no me enseñaron ni lo hice para matar a nadie.
They didn't teach me that, nor did I do it in order to kill someone.
So you did point it at him.
Pero usted entonces sí se la apuntó.
Cuando salieron del carro, cuando estaban en el carro,
When they got out
yo
of the
les
car,
enseñé la pistola,
when they
les
were-
apunté con la pistola.
when they were in the car, I showed him the gun. I pointed it at them.
Mr. Prada, if you could go back in time, would you do things any different?
Si usted pudiese regresar en tiempo.
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Cosas diferentes, no conteste.
Sustained.
Si sostiene la función, no conteste.
Pass the witness, Judge.
No tiene.
Defense.
Mr. Parada, were you worried that Mr. Cepeda was gonna take your firearm away?
Yo lo que pensaba en ese momento,
What I was thinking at that moment,
que proteger mi pistola para que no me la fueran a quitar. Eso
to
es lo que
protect
pensé.
my gun in order for it not to be taken away.
Mr. Parada, were you concerned for your safety?
I'm gonna object to leaving, Your Honor.
No conteste.
Sustained.
Si sostiene la función, no conteste.
Mr. Parada, what was your concern at the time?
¿Cuál era su preocupación en ese?
Mi preocupación era que ya estaba en un punto que yo sentía que me quitaban mi arma y eso yo nomás pensaba en mi familia y decía yo,
My concern was at that time that they were going to take my gun, and I was thinking about my family, su familia.
sí, porque ellos son el sustento mío y eso se me venía a mi mente, pero yo no era eso, pensar o voy a matar a alguien. Yo nunca he pensado ni lo haría.
Because they are the ones that I support, and I wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't thinking, nor would I do it.
Sustained.
Si sostiene la objeción, no se va a contestar.
Judge, no further questions from Mr. Parada. We pass the witness.
All right, state.
Mr. Prada, you wouldn't have had to worry about them taking your gun if you hadn't brought it out.
Usted
Isn't
no
that
se
right?
tendría que haber preocupado de que ellos le quitaran el arma si usted no la hubiera sacado, ¿verdad?
Sí, pero cuando la saqué era nomás porque sentí riesgo en mi vida.
Yes, when I took it out is because I felt a risk towards my life.
¿Le puedo decir algo a él?
May I say something to him?
No, Your Honor, I'll pass the witness.
No, ya, usted es testigo, ya no.
Defense.
Nothing further, Judge. Pass the witness.
All right, is this witness,
Usted es testigo.
I guess the witness can step down. All right, you may step down, Mr. Parada. Defense, call your next witness.
Judge, this time the defense rests.
State.
State rest.
All right, state, do you close?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, do you close?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna let you leave at this time. We're gonna come back Monday at 9 a.m. And at 9 a.m., you're gonna hear closing arguments for both the state and the defense. And then you'll be allowed to deliberate after closing arguments. Do not discuss anything that you've heard with anyone. Do not deliberate. Do not do any research. Do not read anything. Do not accept any text messages or any type of social media about this case. I don't expect there to be any, but I just want to make sure that you realize that everything that you need to decide this case is from inside this courtroom. Does everyone understand? Now tomorrow at Monday at 9 a.m. See, I said tomorrow to test everybody. So Monday at 9 a.m. to make sure you get parking space, you probably need to be here early. Because if you can imagine, this courthouse, the courthouse next door, the parking garage, that's where a majority of them park. And then we have jurors for other cases that are seeking parking too. And sometimes it's probably about 300 to 400 jurors who are looking for parking spaces. All right, so we'll be back on Monday at 9 a.m. Thank you all. Everyone, please rise for the jurors.